What's the worst HR is not your friend story you've witnessed/experienced? Pulled into a meeting with 2 HR reps in the middle of my shift. Taken to this really nice boardroom, which was confusing because I was just a grunt and this is literally floors above where I should ever be. They sat me down and said basically, what do you have to say for yourself? Me, still confused, tells them I have no idea what they're talking about. Everyone is really quiet and serious and I'm scared crapless. And they say, you know what you did, this is cause for termination, blah blah. I'm literally thinking this is really excessive for being a few minutes late sometimes. I insist I don't know what's going on. One of them maybe realized something was wrong and flips open a file and says, you're 20, right? Turns out they got me mixed up with someone else who has the same name. On the elevator ride down by myself, I was still sweating. Don't know what that other person did, but man, HR does not play. This happened at one place I worked at. They pulled the wrong sister into a meeting and started chewing her out for far too long. Before they realized they had the wrong person in there. I don't think apologies were ever made. Oh yeah, nobody said sorry. Edit. I should add, this is Canada where we have a special sorry law where saying sorry doesn't constitute admission of guilt because we all say it so much. So they totally could have apologized. They never do. I had the Air Force Office of Special Investigations do that crap to me back in like 2002 or so. I got told OC called and wanted me to go over to their office. I got interrogated for about 10 minutes, them accusing me of doing cocaine and hanging out with some other dude I barely knew. After me arguing with them for those 10 minutes or so, they finally said, aren't you this airman super common last name? And I was like, yeah, but there's multiple airmen super common last name in my shop alone. Yeah, turns out, they meant a different person completely. They saw my last name and never checked my ID or asked my first name. I had to get read into the investigation because they effed up. That is the funniest one I've read on this thread. I wasn't in, back in 2002, but Sid hasn't changed at least. I went to HR to report that my team's manager was illegally shorting all of our paychecks. HR's response was to adopt a new, company-wide policy addressing the paycheck issue and back paying most people for a certain amount, and also to frame me for work avoidance. HR and IT disabled part of my login account to a tool we used, and then fired me a few months later after failing to fix the problem and allowing me to actually do my job. They tried to deny my unemployment claim afterward. Told the unemployment rep that they had logs showing that I did something to break the tool I don't even have access to break in the first place. They also didn't think to disable my email access in a timely manner, so I was able to back up all my emails with IT documenting exactly what went down. Unemployment approved my claim and hit them with a major penalty to their insurance. I love it when justice is served. I work in Sweden. I had a friend recruited to an identical position as mine. I had to tutor him for a year, given that I have more work-life experience for that gig. He came in earning €1,000 a month more than I did. When time came for salary discussions for me, I used this example and my manager tried to pass that along to at least align my salary. The HR partner responded that they didn't want to make that drastic raise because, and I quote, there might come a time where he, me, wouldn't do the same things as now, and if that happens, we can't downgrade his pay, and he would therefore be overpaid. This is because 2 other team members has been demoted and now make manager pay for less work. We share job description, but they make double of what I do. I got a minor raise that year due to my boss asking other the team members to give up a small share of their annual raises to be able to align my salary. Quite insane that they actually did that. Still not anywhere close to being aligned. On Monday comes this year's salary discussion. Madness to be continued. Delivery-wise, I perform better than they do. They are 10 and 20 years older. The friend I mentioned is 1 year younger than me. This is why I forward important emails to my personal one. I'm getting ready to go on maternity leave and I've saved every correspondence about my pregnancy because I know my company would pull the same crap. Edit. OMG 1K upvotes. Thanks everyone. HR ordered me to downgrade my 3 excellent employee reviews to satisfactory because management didn't recognize their names. I got written up for telling my employees this. HR denied that they told me anything, even though I had the emails from them documenting it. Totally worth it. My employees were excellent and got the raises they deserved. I saw a similar situation. The company has a policy where 10% of the workers had to get bad performance reviews, which meant no raise that year. What the company didn't take into account is that some teams are small and hyper-specialized. You can imagine what happened next. A bunch of crucial employees quit and that policy was cancelled, but the damage was done. Edit. Wow, people really enjoy corporate incompetence. Let me tell you another. The company has a policy that limits an intern to 5 years. I started there somewhere during my bachelor's and now near the end of my master's. It took over 5 years, so now they are letting me go. My boss doesn't want to let me go and his boss doesn't want to let me go, but you can't argue with corporate. I fight this every year. Their argument is that part of the job should be going above and beyond the call of duty, so when people do a good job that's technically satisfactory work which warrants the same merit increase as everybody else. When I ask what the metrics are for exemplary work, they straight up told me that executive leadership isn't allowing any exemplary ratings this year and that generally nobody should be able to get an exemplary rating. My counter is that hard work should be rewarded to encourage further hard work, and ask if they want to send a message that the company is only willing to encourage the bare minimum. Yes, that's what we'd prefer. The 3-point scale should just be a 2-point scale. Nobody should get a 3. Ain't that some crap? Welcome to our high-performance culture, where we take hard work for granted and treat great employees like crap. Holy crap, this brings back an awful memory. We introduced a new performance-based bonus system, where if you exceeded expectations on the goals set in the year, you got a good percentage bonus. So everyone worked really hard in my department, things got done above and beyond. I slaved 45+ hours a week, came in overnight, all that jazz. We had a huge meeting where HR then said that because everyone worked so hard, every employee in the department was being downgraded from the highest or second highest level to just okay. We were fuming, but it turns out, the people who didn't get rejudged were the management. I quit about 6 months later. A kind of similar thing happened to me at my old job. Our entire IT department get tested based on our skills level. Turns out, more than half of us were suited for higher categories, meaning we were getting underpaid. I was not a junior but a semi-senior, for example. Suddenly the test doesn't matter and HR basically forgets about it, but now you have a bunch of employees that know they're being played. Everyone left eventually. Something similar happened at my previous job. It's a large international company and the branch we were working at had an incredibly bad leadership. Eventually, the manager was fired and replaced by someone the investors sent us. He blamed the 87% performance on us while everyone spent at least 2 of 7 working hours on things they aren't paid for: documentation, correction, customer contact, technical drawings, communication, and established a system with payment based on performance because he believed us to be overpaid. We changed things up to reach over 100% performance and left everything that isn't part of our job description alone. Branch had to be closed 4 months later as the whole organization fell apart. I worked in a call center for a cell provider when I was younger. Let's call them Sprint Mobile. We had a bonus structure that was based on our call metrics: hold time, handle time, call resolution, and all that. A lot of the metrics were obtainable, but one was hard: call resolution. Sometimes people had to go to stores, wait for replacement devices, or needed software updates that required follow-up calls. But they got surveyed right after the call and asked if their problem was resolved. Well, my last year there, we got our metrics at the beginning of the year, and by November about 60% of the floor hit them. 2 weeks before bonus time they changed the metrics and only 20% of the floor got their bonus. This is the most mind-blowing thing, and something similar happened at one of my past employers. The whole team worked hard, and then it turns out there's a max quota for each level rating, kind of a forced bell curve type deal, so some people got higher than average and some got lower than average. That's an easy way to torpedo team morale and any future attempts at teamwork. What a staggeringly stupid thing to do. Everybody was pissed and committed to doing the bare minimum from that point forward. So with a performance review cycle 1 year, my manager at the time opened with, just so everyone is aware before I start performance reviews, our third line manager end up want me to put needs improvement for at least 1 field for everyone. I don't personally agree with that, so don't take it personally. This was in a private department Slack channel so that all my co-workers could see, but our uplines aren't in the channel. When he actually got around to the individual performance reviews and got to me, he started with firstly, I've been advised to retract my statement about the mandatory needs improvement. Before going into the review, I figured someone ratted him out. I'm really wondering who the rat was. Personally, I'd rather honesty about things like that, but I can see why HR and upline managers wouldn't. Edit, RIP my inbox. To address some common comments. Yes, I'm aware there's value to such a system and that everyone has an area they can improve. I never said otherwise. I mentioned this as an example to Op's story about management getting in trouble for being honest. The part I do disagree with is that the upline managers want this to be some big secret. Just tell people that everyone has improvement areas and assessments will reflect that. Yes, my manager at the time is a dope for putting that in writing. He wasn't always the most tactful, I'll say that much. No argument here from those of you saying he was dumb for doing that. To those asking what these reviews are used for, they're used for bonus calculations, promotion decisions, and deciding layoffs. At least part of the reason they insist on one improvement area is so they can cut someone of their choosing for performance reasons if layoffs hit our area. I imagine they also use it in cases where someone is an HR issue and they need an excuse to can them. I'm aware that that's just standard corporate politics, nothing new. Bonuses and promotions aren't too affected in practice unless you have multiple needs improvement areas or your improvement area is something critical to your job, because everyone has at least one. It becomes more a question of your ratings in areas critical to your job. To people asking what my needs improvement was, every year it's always been on one of the factors that's not particularly relevant to my job. I've always gotten meets and exceeds on the factors that actually matter for my day-to-day job. The HR/payroll manager at a small hospital I worked at had a bad habit of not paying out the sign-on bonus that was paid out incrementally in 3 payments through the course of a year and sign-on bonuses for picking up extra shifts. After repeated requests to be belatedly compensated, I took it to corporate who addressed my issue immediately. A couple weeks later I was terminated on what amounted to a technicality where I forget my batch 1 shift and my relief was late to take over sitting with a patient, causing me to receive more points against me than if I had called out for that shift. When I was called in to receive my notification, the director of nursing was shocked but ultimately not much she could do. Wage theft is the single largest type of theft, in terms of sheer dollar value, year after year. Overall I've been able to get along with HR departments with one exception. I was working a help desk job for a company during college and the head of HR called in for help. He was making an Excel spreadsheet and couldn't figure out how to make a formula do what he wanted. I offered to come take a look as we were in the same building and he told me I couldn't because the spreadsheet was full of confidential information. So I asked them if he could describe what exactly he was trying to do without giving away any specific info, and he told me that what he was trying to do was confidential. So I clarified that he wanted me to tell him how to do something but I couldn't see it and he wouldn't even tell me what it was he was trying to do. At that point he agreed that I wouldn't be able to assist him since he couldn't divulge anything. As soon as we hung up he called my boss to complain that I was useless. That there is a top-tier Class A moron. You have my sympathy. They already said it was the head of HR, calling him a Class A moron is redundant. What a effing moron. I had a similar experience when I worked in cell phone sales in college. A police officer drove up in his uniform and police car, and says he's having a problem with his phone bill. So I ask for his phone number to look up his account, and he says I can't give you that. I'm sure you understand why. He wouldn't give me any other information either, and I was forced to tell him I couldn't assist him without accessing his phone account at all and he was welcome to call customer service for help. He finally broke down and gave me his phone number. You must have worked at a corporate-owned cell store. The trick with cell phone sales is to only work at shady third-party companies. Oh, you want to cancel your contract and it's going to be charged back on my commission? Sorry, you have to call customer service for that. Oh, this company's coverage sucks and this whole thing is bullcrap? Sorry, you have to call customer service for that. Oh, they effed up on your bill and you want to sort it out? You know the deal. The best is when there is a corporate store in the general area. We had a map with a trail printed out to send people along on their goose chase to get them out of our store. Cell phone companies are grimy as crap in general, but those third-party stores are the absolute gutter. If you ever go into a cell carrier store, the first question should be, is this a corporate store or third party? If it's a third party, run, but spill your drink on the floor on your way out. Straight crime time. Sounds like IT in a nutshell. Everything's fine, you don't do anything, so why are we paying you? Something breaks, this wouldn't have happened if you'd done your job, why are we paying you? For 25 years management has been trying to turn IT from a cost center to a revenue generator. I actually had a super similar thing happen to me. I just told her to give me fake data and she was able to do that for me. That's pretty typical in insurtech where I work. Car drives into garage for repairs. Hey, there's a problem with my car. Okay, well you've come to the right place. What's the problem? I'm not telling you. Why? I can't tell you that either. Get the F out my garage. 1 star. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.